Hi there. Today we will discuss about transaction types in S4 HANA. These are the topics that we will be covering. So before directly look into S4 HANA changes, we will first see what are the use of transaction types in asset accounting, how it is configured in ECC, then use of transaction type in S4 HANA, and finally we will see what has been changed in S4 HANA. So basically transaction types are used to differentiate the business transaction like acquisition, retirement, transfer, etc. Many reports like asset history sheet are built upon data posted to various transaction types. Apart from this, we can see in right hand side configuration screen that transaction types are used to control asset debit or credit postings, to which document type asset should be posted to. It is also help to navigate to asset history sheet data. So on high level, this is the basic use of transaction types. Before moving forward, let's have a look at how transaction types can be configured. Right. So there is separate T codes to configure each kind of transaction types. If you have to configure transaction type for acquisition, then you have to go to transaction code A073. Similarly, if you have to configure something related to retirement transaction type, then T code will be A074. You can also notice that SAP has provided separate end user transactions for different set of activities. Like for acquisition we have F-90, for transfer we have ABUMN, for unplanned depreciation we have ABAA. Likewise, if you visit T code ABAA for unplanned depreciation and press F4 in transaction type field, you will only be able to see transaction types that are configured in AO78 transactions, like we can see in this snapshot. Now, apart from these features, one of the most widely used feature of transaction type is its ability to restrict documents to depreciation area level. This can be configured on OAYA transaction code. Let's spend few seconds to understand why it is important to restrict some of the postings to specific depreciation area. You know that we assign leading and non-leading ledgers to depreciation area, and accordingly depreciation areas post to that ledger. Further, ledger represents the valuation area, example local valuation, US GAAP valuation, group valuation. In many instances, user has to post specific entries in specific valuation area. In those cases, depreciation area leads the way by using correct transaction type. In ECC, asset accounting, there is no dedicated transaction that allows you to post document ledger wise. So the transaction key plays the vital role in posting documents to appropriate ledgers. You can see in screen that transaction types help to determine which depreciation area should be posted. Further, depreciation area helps to identify which ledger to be posted. So in this case, we need multiple transaction types. For example, we have a transaction type 640 which is used to post unplanned depreciation, but it is not restricted to any depreciation area, so it will post documents in all ledger. Now if user want to post unplanned depreciation only in US GAAP ledger, then you have to configure new transaction type, example Z40, and restrict it to US GAAP depreciation area level in OAYA transaction code. Let's see the previous slide of OAYE. Here you can see that transaction type T82 is restricted to depreciation area 01 and 32. This solution of SAP was not much feasible for end users as well as consultants, because consultants have to configure lots of transaction types based on various requirements, and end users also have to remember or select correct transaction types from multiple choices. This often lead to wrong postings and corrections, right? Like in this screen you can see that this T82, whenever we will post any document using this T82 transaction type, it will only post in depreciation area 01 and 32, and this depreciation area might be assigned to US GAAP and local depreciation area, local ledgers, right? But this has been changed now in S4 HANA. Just like in the FIGL module, SAP has enhanced the additional fields on transaction level to select which depreciation area or ledger should be posted. If you remember, we have a T codes like FB50L, FB60L, where we have option to mention ledger group. Same way it can be handled in new asset accounting. Now, it is not possible and also not necessary to restrict transaction types to depreciation area level. This change has significantly reduced the number of transaction types that need to be defined in the system, along with the time consultant has to spend configuring these transaction types. On screen, you can see ABAON transaction, and highlighted area shows the option of manually entering accounting principal and depreciation area. So no need to stay dependent on transaction type. Accounting principal itself determines ledger to be posted. Apart from this, transaction codes will still be used to control debit or credit posting and selecting document types while posting asset documents. But the dependency to post ledger specific documents is being reduced. This became possible because S4 HANA has an option to have multiple leading depreciation area at a time, and all depreciation area can be posted real time. Now if you want to know more about what has been changed in end user transaction codes and how it is impacting and the back end, or then you can read this free ebook, end user manual for new asset accounting, where we have differentiated where we have compared the ECC to S4 and how it was before in ECC, how we have to run the end user transactions, and how it has changed now in S4 HANA with new asset accounting. This brings us to end of this video. Hope you enjoyed watching it. You can subscribe below to stay connected with us. Also check description box to connect with us on different platforms and find the link to blog post on similar topic. You can subscribe to our newsletter to receive update of new blogs, videos. Alright, we'll meet again in new video. Till then, stay tuned.